Hello everybody, Milky Way Matthew here for day number 4 of the Peter Monn vlog challenge. Yeah, so it's day number 4, crazy. Here we are again by my Christmas tree and hanging out. How are you today? Did you have a nice Sunday? This is Sunday, December 6th, 2020. Welcome. How was your day? Maybe you're watching this another day. How is your day going? Hope you're doing well. Thanks for tuning in again. If you're new, welcome. I hope that you have a nice time as we sit here by the tree and hang out this evening. It's a little after, it's probably around 8 o'clock here. Let me tell you exactly what time it is. We'll get the full, it's 7:54. Yeah, 8 o'clock. So I was just hanging out with a couple of my very good friends that are in my COVID bubble and live close by. And we were just enjoying a snack and some pie that I made. I'll tell you about my peanut butter pie. So my aunt would always bring this peanut butter pie to our family gatherings. And I can remember, like, you always wanted to be sure to get to the dessert table as quickly as you could, because you wanted to make sure and get peanut butter pie. And I haven't had it in years. I mean, like years and years and years and years. And I was thinking about it one day, and I knew I wasn't going to be going home for holidays this year. And we don't really have like family gatherings as much as we used to. And so I texted my aunt, I asked her for the recipe, and she sent it to me. And I thought it would be fun to make it throughout the holidays. It's just kind of like a throwback. So I made some for Thanksgiving, and I made two of them, and I wasn't exactly sure what I was doing. It's a pretty simple pie recipe. So I made 2 of them, and we ate some of one, and I left one with my friends that I shared Thanksgiving with, and then I brought the other one home, and the next day I took it out of the fridge, and I ate a piece of it, and the next morning, oh, I hate it when I do this. The next morning, I came downstairs, and it was still sitting on my counter, and it was out all night. Ugh. So that one had to go to waste. So that was annoying, but I was going to go see some of my other friends today, and so I said, I'll bring a pie. So I started to make this pie, but then I realized I was missing one ingredient, so I swapped it out for something else. Well, let me just tell you all the details. So it's a peanut butter pie, and you basically, like, you make these peanut butter crumbs using peanut butter and powdered sugar, and you put some of those crumbs in a graham cracker crust, and then you put French vanilla pudding on top of that, and then you put Cool Whip on top of that, and then you put more peanut butter crumbs. Well, the first time I made it, I wasn't really sure what kind of the peanut butter crumbs were supposed to look like, and it ended up looking kind of like dog food, which was gross. It was like really gross looking, but it tasted very good. It's a very simple pie. It wasn't like, in my head, it was much more complicated than that. And I thought, next time I make it, I want to like include some chocolate chips and make it look prettier. I'm sure my aunt's looks very pretty, but the way I did it, I just think I did it wrong and it didn't look attractive. So this time I went to make it, and I just said, like, I text my friends that I would bring it. And then I realized I didn't have any dairy milk. I only had unsweetened vanilla almond milk, which is my milk of choice. But I wasn't sure if I could make the pudding with almond milk, and I didn't like Google it or anything, which I could have, but I'm just gonna do it. What's the worst thing that can happen? Well, it didn't really thicken up. Like, I think there's something about the creaminess of milk that makes the pudding set nice and firm, and it didn't really set. It was just still very runny. So I tried just pouring it in there, but that wouldn't seem right, and it was too much, because like normally if it was pudding, I could have like kind of made it like a nice looking dome thing, but it was very liquidy, so it just went flat. So I had some extra, so then I like well, I forgot to mention this. So because it was kind of just runny, I put in some whipped cream into it, like Cool Whip, thinking that'll kind of make it like fluffy and have more of like a substance. It helped a little bit, but not a ton. Although I do think it like improved the texture instead of it just being kind of like such, like it made it not so gelatinous like pudding can be. And so I had like a little bit of this pudding Cool Whip mixture left, and I stuck the pie in the freezer to like hope it would start setting because I was gonna have a meeting online. And so then I thought, well, let me just like experiment with this little bit that I have left and see like how can I make it better. So I put in a little bit more Cool Whip and I put in some peanut butter, and then it like got really creamy and it got like stiff, and I was like, okay, now that would be a really good filling. So I took the pie out of the freezer and I tried to scoop out some of the liquidy pudding mixture that I was hoping would kind of freeze. And I didn't get all of it out, but I got some of it out. And then I put on the peanut buttery mixture, but then when that happened, it just kind of slid in, and then all the liquidy pudding started overflowing over the sides, and I was just like, what have I done? What have I done? What have I done? Sometimes I have an unfounded confidence in the kitchen for improvising, and it haunts me. And sometimes it turns out really well. So I let that sit in the freezer, and then I took it out before I went to leave, and I put some Cool Whip on, and I dusted it with some really, really fine peanut butter crumbs. And it looked, other than the fact that like around the sides it was just kind of like weird looking, the top of it looked really pretty. But so I like told my friends like, this might be terrible, I have no idea. So at that point it had like, with the crust, it had 5 layers. And I was like, it's not supposed to, but it's just because like I kept trying different things and it just built up. But anyway, so we had our snacks and then we got out the pie, and it set, it held up. You were able to serve it, and it wasn't like runny, and it was very good. So so that's a time where it paid off. So my willingness to just try something and make it up and feel like, of course this will work. I'm trying it. Why wouldn't it work? So it did. What I would do next time is I would just go ahead and fill the whole base of it with that smooth peanut butter filling, and then put Cool Whip on it. And it'll just make it simpler, and I think that'll be really good. And then I'll put, I used some chocolate chips in it, but my piece only had like 2 chocolate chips, and I put a lot of chocolate chips, so I don't know where they went. While I was eating it, we're sitting there talking, and I was thinking, where are the chocolate chips? I like actually had this thought. I was like, did they dissolve? But I'm like, that's not possible. It was in the freezer. That's probably one of the dumber things I've thought in a long time. So that's funny. I don't feel like I usually have really kind of like dumb thoughts, but I think that was a very dumb thought. But I like that. That's good for me. Oh, yeah. But so, yeah, it was good. We all liked it. Everybody liked it. My friend said it was very rich, which it was. But it was the other kind when I made it like my aunt made it. It was very rich then, too. So, yeah, I definitely feel like I have an idea of what I want it to be like for like my peanut butter pie. So I'll make that again probably at Christmas, and I'll incorporate more chocolate. Actually, what I would love to do is I would love to have the graham cracker crust, the peanut butter filling, and then I would love to make a nice chocolate ganache, which I've never done before, and I know it can be tricky. That's like kind of thick, but that you can like cut through, and then have the Cool Whip on top of that, and some peanut butter crumbs, and maybe like some chocolate shavings. That would be like my ideal. That would be delicious. I love, who doesn't love, I mean, I know there are people who don't, but I love peanut butter and chocolate. It's a great combination. Although here's an update for everyone. I have noticed in the past few months that like if I eat peanut butter late in the evening, that like I can kind of feel it burn. I can feel like this burn as I lay in bed. Maybe that's something I want to get checked out instead of talking about it on YouTube. But I don't know. So that's just like part of aging. Really, here's the thing. When I was 26, so last year, that's when I like really started to realize that my body was not the same as it used to be. I don't know. So if you're watching this and you're young, give thanks. That's wonderful. If you're watching this and you know, you can tell that your body has changed with age, let me know down in the comments what year you really noticed, how old you were when you started to notice that your body was doing different things and just didn't work the same way that it used to. I've got my nice warm blanket. It is, I could be completely wrapped up in it if I wanted to, but that's very restrictive and also a little too warm for my taste. I don't need to be that warm. This is probably a bad thing to do while you're making a video, but I want you to be closer to me. How is that? Is that nice? That's nice. Yeah. So I'm going to take a drink of water. I would encourage you to do the same if you have some water nearby. To life. I think this is the first time I'm not using a Star Wars cup, so that's a Milky Way Matthew first. That's amazing. So thank you everyone who has been watching the past few days. That's so nice of you. I really appreciate your time. That's good. What else? Yeah, this morning I kind of took it easy. I slept in. I was going to get up at 6:30. I have this thing where I don't like to sleep in anymore. That's another thing that I've noticed about myself as I continue to increase in age. I don't like the feeling of waking up after sleeping in super late. So, but like today, I did sleep until 8, which was an accident. I wasn't going to. I was going to get up at 6:30, but my alarm went off, and I was like, no. And then I must have, because I like set a bunch of alarms, which was probably really bad. It's not how you're supposed to do it, but it's how I do it. So, yeah, but I didn't get up until like 8. So, but I mean, I felt very rested. It was good. I was probably up too late last night. I don't really remember. Yeah, I better not continue down that path, or I might tell you another dream story. Oh, I'm so sorry about that yesterday. I'm not really. My apologies are facetious. I hope you know that I am not serious about apologizing for it. Because, you know, that's just me. That's who I am. I like talking about dreams, but I will try not to very often. So, what else? Yeah, so I kind of just chilled and relaxed. I did this morning. I watched episode 4 of season 1 of Star Trek Discovery. And, you know, I was really amazed at how much of that show is in Klingon. So if that doesn't mean anything to you, good for you. If it means something to you, I hope you also think that it's funny like I do. If you don't think it's funny, that's okay. But I'm just like, wow, there's a lot of, you know, Klingon dialogue. And the crazy thing is I think there's people who are big enough Star Trek fans, which I would say I'm a Star Trek fan, have not seen every episode of every show, but I've seen multiple series in their entirety, and many of the movies, not all of them though. But like I don't speak Klingon, and I'm happy for those who do. I think there are people who do. I don't know. Maybe that was just like a joke in Daddy Daycare. Maybe people don't actually speak Klingon. Do you ever watch Daddy Daycare? That was a film favorite of our household when I was young. We liked watching that one because it made us laugh and it was sweet. But there was that one character who, remember there's like the little kid who only spoke Klingon. That's funny. How do I remember that? I don't know. But anyway, yeah, it's fine. I wish that, so like, I'm glad, you know what, here's the thing. I'm always happy for people getting to do what they want to do. So like, I hope that everyone who worked on the show, Star Trek Discovery, it still is, you know, they just had their 3rd season, I think. I hope they're all having a really great time and enjoying it. I feel like it's kind of the least funny of any Star Trek that I've watched, and it's the least like lighthearted. Like Star Trek does have these really kind of heavy moments, but I feel like there's one character who's kind of funny, but we haven't really gotten to know the crew. It's very much feels like it doesn't feel super grounded in the Star Trek genre. It feels more like, just any other show you would see on like HBO or something that's driven by just a couple characters, and but yeah, so not my favorite. I mean, how can you beat Captain Catherine Janeway? Janeway? I don't know. It's been too long since I've watched Voyager, but she's the best. So it is hard to beat her. But this one's interesting because the captain of this ship is not someone that you trust. Spoiler alert. So that's kind of interesting. Only 4 episodes in. I will probably try to watch the rest of the first season, but I don't know if I'll make it all the way through. So we'll see. What shows are you watching right now? Yeah, what shows are you watching? Let me know in the comments. Everyone's talking about Queen's Gambit. I'm having a hard time caring. I also do have a little bit of stubbornness in me that's like, once everybody's talking about it, it's hard for me to want to. Like, for example, I'm certain that I would love the films Roma, and I'm sure that I would love the film, just from this last year. You know what I'm trying to say. What was the big one? It won every award. It's not going to come to me. I can see the cover. Let's find out. Oh, comment down below. You're going to know exactly what movie it is I'm trying to say. It won the Oscar. It was the first foreign film to win Best Picture. It also won Best Foreign Film. Let's see. How do I search this? I guess I can just do Oscars 2019. It's driving me crazy. I can't believe it. Oh, it was 2020. That's right, because I was out of the country the night of the Oscars in 2020, and I can't believe that I missed the Oscars. That's one of my favorite nights of the year. I love it. I love the Oscars. I mean, obviously, Parasite. That's what I'm trying to say. Obviously, in 2019 is when I really started to become disillusioned with the the Academy Awards. Is what I'm trying to say. Probably, I'm very late to that party of being disillusioned with them, and it's because they don't. Obviously, I think that like when I was younger, I had the impression that the winner of the Best Picture was the best movie that year, and it's not true. It's kind of a popularity contest, and that's fine. It's still very fun. I love the spectacle of it, and it's great. I was not maybe super in love with her not being a host, but in my memory it works. I was able to watch that with some friends, and we had a very fun time. And Lady Gaga sang with Bradley Cooper, so that was cute, right? You all remember that? Of course you do. So, yeah. But I missed the Oscars in 2020, and I don't think I've never gone back and watched them. I should do that sometime, because especially with my Christmas tree up, that would be great. When do you get to see the Oscars? Actually, let's see. No. Okay, one thing about me that you might like to know is that I keep my Christmas tree up a very long time. I always put it up, as was my family tradition, the day after Thanksgiving. But I remember we would usually take it down mid-January, which is probably a long time for a lot of people. But I usually have a hard time getting my Christmas tree down like mid-February. Sometimes it's like late February. And it's because there's nothing that I love more, so this is a fitting thing, because this is like just one of my favorite things to do, is to sit and sometimes I'll just get lost in the tree and I just sit and look at the Christmas tree with its lights on. Oh, I love it. It's so beautiful. So this is actually the setup that I've had for a couple years, like with all the ornaments, I mean. So Anyway, Parasite. Okay, that's what I was saying. I know that I would love Roma, and I know that I would love Parasite, but the fact that like everyone was just freaking out about it, just, I don't know, for some reason makes me kind of feel like I don't know, it's not like too late to the game. It's just like, I guess the surprise, okay, and maybe this is I think the thing that I am like really a junkie for when it comes to movies is the hunt. That's what it is. Okay, this is wonderful. Vlogging can be a really fun form of self-discovery. I just learned this because I just realized that about myself. Part of what I love about movies is the hunt. I love finding a movie that I didn't know existed. I love the risk of watching it, not knowing if you're going to like it, not knowing if it's going to be a good film, and then the discovery of when it is, and that satisfaction, and even when it's kind of disappointing, like, you know, still knowing that that's another thing, one that you've experienced, and I can't tell you how many movies I've watched because I watched one movie and that sparked an interest in a particular director, cinematographer, or actor, and then I kind of just go down these rabbit holes. So I think that that's maybe part of it, is that once everybody's talking about it and it's won the Oscar, there's no discovery. I mean, okay, and that's like, obvious, that's a problem with me, not the movie, because it's still brilliant, it's still beautiful, it's still gorgeous, it's still important. And then, but my like issue with it is that I just then have a hard time having any motivation. I will say, if someone was like, "Hey, do you want to watch Roma with me?" I would be like, "Well, let me see if I have 6 hours to spare." It's not really that long, but it's very long, which also inhibits me. I wish every movie was 92 minutes. I think 92 minutes is the perfect runtime for a movie, and if the movie needs to be longer than that, because I understand there are movies that need to be longer than that, I wish that they would release them in 2 parts, because I really don't like stopping a movie halfway through, but I wish I'm getting better at that. That's how I got through one of my favorite movies. Maybe I'm just going to talk about movies tonight. Big whoop, big surprise, I mean. One of my favorite ones, which this is like, funny because I feel like I discovered it, but which is ridiculous because, it's considered one of the great movies, would be Seven Samurai, Akira Kurosawa. I guess I feel like I discovered it because I happened upon it in hearing pieces of conversations about Kurosawa, and I didn't know anybody who had seen it before I watched it. Actually, I still don't know anyone personally who's watched Seven Samurai, and but it took me 3 nights because it's a long movie. So yeah, it's a long time. It's a long movie for black and white and reading subtitles. So it took me 3 nights to get through it, but it was very rewarding. And the ending. Yeah, I laughed, I cried. What more could you want? So, yep. What movies have you discovered? What movies have surprised you? Yeah, I could talk about movies forever. Those of you who know me well know that. I could just go on. Do you like my sweatshirt tonight? It is the Logan Chieftains. I have no idea what that means. I got it at a thrift store, and I really like this sweatshirt. Fun fact, my friends that are doing Vlogmas, Chris and Kirsten over at AlwaysUs, I'll link them again. You should watch their videos. Their last video made me laugh so hard. Actually, that's not true. 2 videos ago made me laugh so hard. Last night, I watched their video right before I went to sleep, and they were saying, yeah, I love them. They were saying some very nice things about this vlog challenge that I'm doing here, and yeah. So Chris and Kirsten, if you're watching this, I love you both. I hope you had a nice Sunday. I hope you've had the opportunity to do some Christmas activity, or if not, to rest. That's important to you. Actually, I know you've already posted your video today, so I'm very much looking forward to watching your video tonight. Yeah. So that's what's up. Yep. Trying to think. Oh, tomorrow. I'm excited to vlog tomorrow night. I'm very, very, very excited because it's Monday. So tomorrow's my full day off. So I kind of had a little bit of time to rest today, but I did have some work stuff. And tomorrow will be my whole day off. And I'm so excited to share with you what I do. But I won't. I'll just leave you. Consider yourself teased. Tomorrow will be a nice day. Hopefully, you know, I'm open to whatever comes my way. If it's a challenging day, I will accept that. But typically, Mondays are a very peaceful day, so I'm looking forward to that. But I'll give you an update tomorrow night when I record my next vlog. Yeah. So, I wonder what else. So, little transition there, because just as I was sitting here thinking, all of a sudden I looked up and my phone was ringing. What's interesting about that is that I have my phone on Do Not Disturb mode, which I thought kept calls from like interrupting things. So I thought like right now if I received a call, it would not interrupt my video. But apparently that's not true. Apparently. So I didn't know that. Or maybe it is true. I feel like, you know, I just want to kind of figure this out. Do what? Okay, how do I... Right now I feel like my mom. What... Because I don't know what to search in order to get the answer that I want. What does Do Not Disturb do? With Do Not Disturb, you can silence calls, alerts, and notifications that you get while your device is locked. So maybe my... Well, it's locked. Well, what's the point of that? I guess if you don't want to be disturbed, which, you know, just points out the fact that it's aptly named. But what if I don't want to be disturbed, but I also want to use my phone? See, I thought that, like, when I put it on Do Not Disturb, like, if I was, like, live streaming stuff that I've had to do for work, I thought that that meant that I wouldn't get disturbed. But I don't know that to be true anymore. My world is crumbling around me. Well, I have my beautiful 2012 iPad out. Let me just go ahead and see if I can find, you know, what I was doing last year this time. I don't know that I'll do this all the time, but why not? Wait, this is still, I'm only back till August, June. Oh, here, I could give you this life update as I go past June. This year, a dream of mine came true. I got a Vespa. I've always wanted a Vespa. I never thought, well, I thought like it would be a long time till I would actually own a Vespa. But my car, as I mentioned at the beginning of this vlog, which maybe I'll like finish, no, maybe I'll do my vlog from the car like at my halfway point when I've done, maybe on my like 8th day of the Peter Monn vlog challenge. Peter Monn Vlog Challenge to commemorate the 1,400 videos that Peter Monn has posted on his vlog channel. The challenge is to do 14 days of vlogging every day. So I never thought that I didn't think I would have a Vespa for a long time. And my car started getting a little cranky, let's say. And I was like, okay, I can't get a new car right now. But this was at like late springtime. So I thought, oh, I've always wanted to get a scooter, specifically a Vespa. So why not do that now? Because then I'll be able to use it all summer. So I started the search process. I ended up finding, this is kind of a fun story. I ended up finding a Vespa on Facebook Marketplace, which, you know, sometimes I feel like is very sketchy. Most of the time I feel like it's very sketchy. But I found this one, and I was like, okay, it looks like a legitimate thing. I messaged the person, and he seemed nice. Well, it was in Des Moines, Iowa. I do not live in Des Moines, Iowa. But my friend has a brother that lives in Des Moines, Iowa. So, I'd never met this guy, but we FaceTimed him and asked if he would be interested in talking about scooters with me, because he also knew scooters, which is crazy. He was very knowledgeable. And so we talked about scooters for a while, and I told him that I was interested in getting a Vespa. And at first he was like, you know, that's not really a good place to start. And I was like, yeah, I totally agree, but this seems like a good deal. And so we asked him if he would go look at it for me. And he did, and he called me and he was like, okay, Matthew, this is a very good deal. This is legitimate. This guy's super nice. This Vespa's in excellent condition. It's 2003. Yeah, it's a 2003, so it's not new by any means of the word. But he said it's in brand new condition. It's always been in climate controlled storage when it's not being used. He said it's beautiful. I was like, okay, I think I want to get it. And that was what I used. Remember back when we all got stimulus checks? Did you get one? Comment down below what you used your stimulus check on. You probably used it on something really responsible. But I put it towards buying a Vespa. And so I called this guy and made him an offer, and he took it, which was lower than what he even was asking, and he was very nice. And, okay, here's the story. He bought this Vespa for his wife, and she's done with it because he was buying her a Maserati. Is that right? Yeah. So I'm like, okay, in my head I'm thinking, I'll call you in, 16 years, 17 years, and buy your wife's car when she's done with it, because I'm sure it's going to be in excellent condition. I'll buy it for nothing from you. That'd be amazing. So my friends, we went to her brother's house, and he had already picked it up from the guy that was selling it, and I got it, and it's candy apple red. Here's a picture of me and my Vespa from earlier this year. But here's the thing, it's a 150cc, so I had to get my motorcycle license. So there is an update for you if we haven't been together in a while. I have my motorcycle license, which I will say makes me laugh, because of all of my circle of friends, I would not have guessed that I would be the one to get my motorcycle license or the first to get my motorcycle license. That's pretty shocking. What I did discover was that, so I went to the DMV, that was a little further away, because trying to go to the DMV, this was, with the DMV that I love, that I'm closest to, doesn't do the motorcycle exam. So I had to go further away. That's what I'll say. But the DMV was rough. And here's the thing. I got there when they opened at 7 in the morning. And I waited for I don't know, I left at 2 in the afternoon or something. I was there all day. It was crazy. And you were waiting outside, which was fine because it was nice. That was finally when I was able to get my license. I had the Vespa for quite a while before I could actually drive it, because I was trying to just practice in this parking lot, because I didn't want to take it on the road without my license. And so I had my permit for a while, but I didn't have anyone else who had a bike that I could ride alongside with and stuff, so I was just practicing in a parking lot, basically. So I went to get my license, and I finally got into the DMV. I've been waiting for hours and hours and hours, and I finally get inside, and I'm standing there, and they were playing in the DMV, which is like a typically, I'd say, a very stressful place for most people. It's known for being like a stressful place to be. And they were playing, how would I like, metal. There was metal music. Just like screaming and shredding a guitar playing. And I was like, where am I? What is happening? This cannot be standard. So I thought, that's weird. The next song that came on was like this piano and a string quartet. And I was like, what? What sort of playlist is this? And I thought, okay, so that like metal song was a fluke. But here's the thing. After the string quartet finished, it went back to metal music. And this is mind-blowing to me because like my music professor her PhD was in how music affects you physiologically. And so the fact that you're in a place that's already known for being stressful and then you're playing metal music, there's like such a small number of people in the world that would be helpful to. I, for one, am not one of those people, but I did find it very funny. So it didn't like stress me out more, but it definitely confused me. And there were like people, 6 feet away with masks on who were like, what is going on? And I'm thinking, I have no idea. Where am I? I'm at the DMV. No, what happened was I felt like I waited in line, like a very long line with a very funny bouncer to get into this club that is like not fun, but it's like prestigious, but like you only want to go there because it's very cool to have gone there, but it's like not fun. You don't want to go because it's fun. That's what it felt like. And then like you have to stand 6 feet apart from people, wear masks, and there's no dancing, and you don't have any refreshments or anything. You just stand there and wait for your number to be called so that you can have someone be rude to you, which is exactly what happened to me. And I don't honestly, the DMV has only like one other time been like a negative experience for me. I usually have a great time at the DMV. The DMV that I normally go to, there's this lady there she's been there, I'm sure, for like 30 years, and she just like yells at the top of her lungs, and she calls everybody honey, and she's like very whimsical, and she knows that her job could be really bad, and she makes it fun, and she just runs that place, and I love it. Which also, I had a funny interaction with her, so I'll tell that story in a minute. But so at this other DMV, it was just like so weird. And so when I finally got up to the counter, I was like, hi, I'm here to take the motorcycle test, the driven portion, which they knew because you had to check in. I checked in like 3 hours earlier. And so these two employees stood there, and they were like, well, we don't know who's going to give you the test because, well, she turned to this guy and said, hey, you have a motorcycle test. And he said, well, I don't know who's doing it because I'm going on lunch break. Which, so like maybe now this is a drama channel. I don't know. So I was like, okay, here's the thing. I totally get. I have a job that normally we're interacting with the public, and I get that at some point you have to cut off the line and say, I'm going on lunch break. So here's like a great way to handle that. And I would have happily waited another hour if I had to, if that meant that employee got to take their lunch and was well taken care of. But instead of being like, I'm so sorry, sir, I'm about to go on lunch break, but I'll help you as soon as I come back. I'm sorry, I'm sure this is inconvenient for you. I would have been like, do it, have a great lunch, I'll be here, I'll be waiting for you, have an amazing time, like enjoy your Sammy or whatever you're having. But instead, he was just very much like, well, I'm not doing it because I'm going on lunch. And then she was like, well, I've never been trained to how to do it. So he's like, well, I guess you're going to have to figure that out. There was like tension between them, which that's like not a healthy work environment. And I'm like, hello, I've been waiting for like so many hours, and now you're standing here arguing about like who's going to have to help me. No, I'm paying for this, so it doesn't make sense. And it was very weird. But I will say, it worked out great because I got this lady who probably has been there a while, but she didn't know what she was doing. And so she was like very, very nice because she was aware of her limitations, except that at the end of my test, this was nerve-wracking. Okay, the test was nerve-wracking, and there was a bit where, okay, so even though it's 150cc, that's like the bottom end of a motorcycle. That's literally, if it's 149, you don't have to get your motorcycle license. So that's like the smallest a motorcycle engine can be. But there's this one part where you have to get up over so many miles an hour and then stop really quickly. And then you also have to like swerve. You have to swerve out of the way and then stop. And I was like stressed about that because I'm not an aggressive person. So that was like, I felt like very much out of my skin and like, like trying to go fast and then stop and swerve and all this stuff. So I'm doing it, and I did it, and she goes, okay, you didn't quite make it like under the time, like in the time or within the zone or whatever it was. She goes, so go ahead and do it again. So I pull it around. And as that's happening, there's this lady walking out of the back of the building, and she goes, I don't remember the lady's name. I think her name might have been, let's just call her Cheryl, because I know that wasn't her name. I think I remember what her name was, but let's say it was Cheryl. This lady who was walking out goes, Cheryl, what did I just see happen? Okay, so also, what isn't good for you to know about this situation is that the lady who's giving me my test is in her 60s, and the lady who walks out of the building is in her 30s. And so that, like, age difference already like adds an interesting dynamic to the fact that the lady who walked out of the back of the building is like coming on like pretty aggressive to this very sweet older lady who's just trying to help out this kid who can't ride his Vespa like a motorcycle because it's not a motorcycle, turns out. So she was like, well, he's doing it. So I thought it was like a problem with me, because she was like letting me do it again, and I was like, oh no. So she like starts explaining the situation to her, and she goes, well, this is all wrong. You have the whole thing set up wrong. This isn't how you set up. And she was like, I did not realize. Well, then they start talking about it, and so this lady is being very aggressive. It's obvious that she's her boss. I realized, oh, I saw her picture. She's the manager. So she seemed like she was probably a very sweet person, but I'm sure she was having a bad day, because it's just, what a crazy environment. And then some employee put on metal music, and you got to either tell them to, which I don't understand how you're the manager and then you don't like stop the metal music. That's mind blowing. That's mind blowing to me that you just let that happen in a DMV. What? Well, I'm convinced it was like an underground club sort of situation. But anyway, then all of a sudden, well, and she was also going for lunch. She's like, I'm leaving for lunch. And we're like, okay, everyone's taking lunch. We get it. We all have to eat lunch at some point. No one can go this long without eating. We get it. Probably none of us had our breakfast. That's why we're all cranky. I was not cranky. I was having a fine time. I was stressed because I was nervous that I wasn't going to get my motorcycle license after all of this rigmarole. But then she was like, oh, wait. What's his name? Like, let's say it's Gary. She's like, oh, I guess Gary already painted the lines, so you are doing it right. And then it was just like, she didn't even like, I don't know. I just felt like if I was the manager, I would not talk to my employee that way in front of somebody. She wasn't even trying to be like, hey, can you come here for a moment so I can ask you some questions? She just was letting her have it right in front of me, and I just felt like it was very rude. So, I don't have anything against DMVs. I really don't, except to say that any organization where the manager does not respect the employee, not a fan. And so So I'm very thankful for that sweet lady who gave me my motorcycle test. And here's the thing, I passed. I got my motorcycle license, except I will say that because, I don't know if I want to say this, but I had I'm not going to let you see my hair. It would look terrible right now. That because I had to I always wear my helmet. So please, if you ride a motorcycle, wear your helmet. I always wear my helmet. So because I was driving there on my Vespa, I wore my helmet, but I knew that would make my hair really messy. So I put it up in my little top knot, my little man bun, because when I went to do the driven part of the exam, they took my picture. So I thought, okay, they're gonna when I actually get my license, they'll use that picture. Nope. They said, okay, we're gonna need to take your picture. So my license, and they didn't let you smile. I look I look real bad. I look really bad. I wish that I had my wallet somewhere close by because I would show you because of how funny it is. But let's just say between you and me and the whole entire internet, really, it doesn't look good. It does not look good. But yeah, so the story. Got a Vespa this year. That's crazy. And listen, I had a blast driving that thing around. I drove my car so little. Oh, I loved it. One time I went to the town over and I was going to, there's a little Mexican grocery store called Little Marqueta, and I was going there to get guacamole, and then I ended up seeing like a bunch of stuff I wanted to get, and so I only had like so much storage in the seat portion of this Vespa, and I like realized as I was coming out, I was like, I got too much stuff, and I got tortilla chips, and I had to open, this is how close it was to not fitting, I had to open the tortilla chips to let the air out in order to get, of the bag, in order to get the seat to close. So it was full up. But yeah, just loved driving my Vespa all summer into the fall, and I miss it. I miss it so much. I haven't really thought about this, but I really do miss it, and I cannot wait till it gets warm in the spring and I can take it out. But here's the thing, it can't even be like, if it's 60 degrees, it's too cold to drive it, because I'm convinced it feels 10 degrees colder on there. It's a nightmare to drive it. I've driven it when it was colder than I realized. I drove it like 30 minutes away, and no, that was too cold. That was too cold. It was not fun. It was miserable. But when it's nice out, it's great. It's great. So my other story, this is an embarrassing story. It's not really, but like it also is, like that other dumb thought that I had a little while ago, which now I can't remember what that dumb thought was. That's weird. What was the dumb thought that I had earlier? I don't know. It doesn't matter. But this story is when I went to the DMV that I liked, and that lady that I liked there. Okay, so I had gone and I got the new sticker for my car, that you have to do every year. So I went and I got the sticker, and I brought it back and I put it in my car because it says like you're supposed to wash off your license plate or whatever. So I didn't put it on right away. Like you're supposed to just like wipe it off with a rag. So I put it in my car. Well, then I completely forgot to put it on there. And so I think for like 3 months, it just sat in my car. And one day I was like, I can't believe I keep forgetting to do this. How terrible is that? So I was like, I'm going to do it. So I did it. Except I didn't, because, twist, I didn't actually do it. Because when I went to take the sticker off the paper, it was like dried out. There was nothing sticky about it. And it like didn't want to come off. So I was like, so there's like the paper, and then there's like this little plastic window, which is such a waste. I don't get the point of doing that. And then as I was trying to peel this paper thing off, there was no stickiness to the back. And I thought, I waited so long that it like dried up. That's crazy. After 3 months, I can't believe that. So when I was going back to the DMV for like something with my Vespa, maybe the title transfer or something, I took my sticker in, and I was like, also, so I like talked to her about, I was like, here, this is what I'm here to do, blah, 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 blah. Also, can I exchange this for a different sticker, because look, it's not coming off. And she said to me, oh, honey, you're peeling off the whole paper. The sticker's much smaller than that. And that's when I realized there's like plastic and then paper and then sticker. And I was trying to peel off the paper, whole paper thing, instead of the sticker. And she just lifts the corner, and it's like, obviously that's where the sticker is, and it's very sticky. And I was like, oh my goodness, this is so embarrassing. And she's like, it's fine. You would be surprised how many people come in and ask that very question. They think that there's something wrong with it. And I was like, wow, that's not comforting to know that I'm in that group of people, but thank you for saying so. Yeah, so that's another funny DMV moment that I've had. Then, actually, the lady who, this was crazy, when I went to transfer the title on my Vespa, I had gone in and they're like, okay, here's the stuff you need or whatever. So I went and got it. I went back. I took it in. I got up, finally waited in line, blah, 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 blah. Get to the counter, and she starts to go through it, and then she goes, okay, the people who signed the title over to you didn't sign their full name, and so you have to fill out another form. You have to have them fill out another form. So totally fine, get it. That's annoying because I was like already there, and it's COVID, so you're not wanting to like have a bunch of trips to these public places. But she, she's just doing her job. So she felt bad. She was like, I'm so sorry. I'm like, no, this is not your deal at all. So I take the form, I scanned it and emailed it to this guy, and he got it back to me quickly. And it's like the next week I go back, and I get to the same lady, and I have the form now. I don't think she really remembered me. No, that lady was busy, but she was like, okay, yes, and so she passed me off to this other lady who was super duper nice, and she didn't really know what she was doing yet, which I love, and maybe this is just like tells you something weird about me. I like working with people who are like new at their jobs or something, because I know that there's a lot of people who would not be nice to that person in that moment, and I just am confident in my ability to make them feel okay and valued and like they're doing a great job, So I always, that's something that I like. So I'm just there being, as kind as I can, even though she's taking a long time and she's having to ask questions and then wait for people. But anyway, we ended up having this really fun conversation, and we talked, and she was talking about how she's always wanted a scooter and how her nephew got one, and I was like, you should do it, just like keep watching for one. And so we just had this great little conversation together, and I was probably at her counter for half an hour at least, and it was just a wonderful interaction, and the kind of thing you just walk away from feeling good, And I think to me that's like the problem with the other DMV is you could let people be walking, and I know there's people walking out of that DMV with bad attitude too, but there's people like me who they want to leave the DMV feeling happy, and I think that's really, it's our choice, we choose how we're going to leave the DMV, and that whole process didn't go as I wanted, but you just have to accept it. And yeah, one of my very good friends read a book this year that was really impactful for her, and now I can't think of the name of anything. It was called The Book of Joy, and it's written by the Dalai Lama and Archbishop Desmond Tutu, and it's about their friendship, and they both share kind of like how their practice and their faith has informed their life, and it's really powerful. I've read about half of it, but one of the things they talk about is accepting the world as it is, and how transformative that can be to just recognize I cannot control things. And so that's been a very big theme of my life this year, is learning to accept things. So to walk into the DMV, to be told, I've been here 3 times already, be told you got to go fill out another form, and it's just paperwork. It's meaningless. But to be able to just say, okay, yeah, I accept that's this. And obviously there's things in the world that we need to not accept, and we need to stand like up for people who don't have the ability to stand up for themselves, and we need to say, I'm not accepting the way this person's being treated. And there's a time and place for rebellion, which is why I love Star Wars. But there's also a time and a place to like accept the fact that life is imperfect. So that's something I've been thinking, and who among us hasn't had to wrestle with involuntary change this year? We've all felt that. So yeah, I hope that you are able to accept this day for whatever it is. I hope that you're able to embrace it. I hope that you're able to enjoy it in some way, but if not, I hope that you're able to accept it at least. And I think that's probably even more powerful than enjoyment. I think acceptance is a more powerful reality than enjoyment. And I guess that's maybe their point. I should probably finish reading the book, but it's probably why it's called the Book of Joy, because accepting things is what makes it possible to feel joy. So, and to not that joy is always just like a feeling, but to experience the reality of like a depth of being that's beyond just like momentary circumstance or emotion. Yeah, in my meeting that I had this afternoon, one of the things we did was we went through an emotion chart. So I shared with our team this. I just like found it online. It was like a chart of a bunch of different like little cartoon faces, and actually it was like there was probably I think there was 18 different expressions, and originally on this image there was like a name for each emotion, and I went through and like erased the names because I didn't want us to get caught up in language. I wanted us to just go for kind of what we were feeling. So we're wrestling with some difficult conversations as a team at this job, and so I wanted to give a chance for everybody to like express how they were feeling. So just some emotional inventory about, difficult circumstance. So that's a great way to kind of engage with one another and start a conversation, and to recognize it's okay to feel, we had some people who felt content. We had some people who felt very sad, somebody who is angry, somebody who is kind of in shock, someone, and that's okay. So however you feel today, that's okay. Don't let anyone convince you that your feelings aren't your feelings. Try to connect with your feelings today. That would be my challenge for you today, is stay connected to your emotions. So I'm going to take a moment here to see if I can express maybe what I felt today. I like to, what I've been doing lately is sometimes I have a hard time naming my emotions as emotions. So I'll start by trying to use a metaphor for how I felt. So let me think of kind of what I felt today. Do a little check here, see if I can share that with you. I felt like today, many times, I felt like, when you watch a puppy dog who's just eaten, and then they get on their bed and they kind of walk around in circles, and then they lay down and get all snuggly. That's kind of where I was emotionally today. Feeling very content and warm and safe, and that's because of the relationships that I invested in today. Made me feel very safe and loved and cared for. So yeah, I think maybe the word content would be my word for the day. So how have you felt today? Comment down below, and feel free to be honest. That's the most important starting place for our emotions. So, but you know that. Who am I to tell you that? You know that. Well, I so appreciate you joining me on this journey of this Peter Monn vlog challenge. I hope you are enjoying it. Check out ShareBear14, who's also doing the Peter Monn vlog challenge. Check out Pathology, who's doing Vlogmas. He's the one that started the Peter Monn vlog challenge. And yeah, so if no one has told you this today, you are loved and you are needed, and the feelings that you feel are important and they're telling you something. So I hope that you're able to spend a moment or two tuning in. Make sure your shoulders are down from your ears. You are deserving of a good full breath today. You're deserving of water to keep you alive. You are worthy of those things and so much more. And you are worthy of being loved well. And I am very grateful for you. Thanks for tuning in, and I will check in with you all tomorrow night. Bye-bye!